Hello, how you doing? I'm Christiana Gaudet. I am live on my YouTube channel, simulcasting on Instagram. My YouTube channel, of course, is Christiana Gaudet Tarot on YouTube. If you're on Instagram and want to come on over, please do. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I am your Tarot Fairy Godmother, and today we are going to do an hour-long class on tarot blends. How the cards inform each other, how the cards work together, how the cards influence each other. And you know this is a really important part of doing a reading. We know that 9 times out of 10, a reading is more than. Hey, Peggy Lou, you made it over. Very good. And what do you think? I have changed the been member for a year or more badge to make it more like the other badges. What do you think? I think it's working better. Cheryl Jefferson, yes, there will. There will be an in-person Panera Bread meetup in September. Yes, I haven't scheduled it yet, but we will go back to a regular meeting starting in September. I just took a little break in August. Believe it or not, August is a really busy month getting ready for StarCon. And also we got the grandbabies a little earlier than we had hoped, but they're doing fine. So back to a normal schedule in September. All right. Thank you everyone for joining us. A special thanks to the members. You can tell who the members are because their names are in green. These are people who support this channel with the monthly donation. And goodness gracious, Angelic Michelle, who is a member, has also helped out with a super sticker. Thank you so much. Super chats and super stickers are ways that you can show your support for this broadcast, and it is much appreciated. All right, let's get right into it. So we are not doing readings today. We are doing tarot study. That's what this is all about. As you can see, I am working with my Smith-Waite Tarot deck, the Centennial Edition that comes in the tin. Folks joining on Instagram, you will not be able to see the cards, but you will be able to follow along because I'll say what they are. If you want to see the cards, come on over to YouTube, Christiana Gaudet Tarot on YouTube. Peggy Lou, your name is in green for us. It absolutely is. And you should see the other people's names in green as well, although it could depend on what device you're looking at. Hey, Marion K. Tarot. It must be like 1,000,000 o'clock where you are right now. So nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. Marion is going to get on some airplanes, I think like 3 of them, and come on over from Scotland and will be in person for StarCon. If Marion can make it, so can you. StarCon is January 20th through 22nd. In person in West Palm Beach, online on Excel events. We hope to see you. Oh my goodness, Maya Starbuck, thank you so much. Thank you for being a member, and thank you for helping out with the super sticker. We really appreciate it. Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. All right. All right. Okay. Oh, Betty, you used one of the new emojis. Getting better. I probably still need to hire an artist, but getting better. Cool. I mean, I'm getting better. You're fine. I'm getting better. All right, let's get going. Tarot blends. The way we blend the cards. You know, sometimes we do readings that are just a single card, and that's a legit reading. But more times than not, we use more than one card, and no matter what technique we use, we will let the cards influence each other. That's really, in many ways, the heart of a tarot reading, of how we give a tarot reading, is the cards speak to each other, they interact with each other. In this class, we're going to talk about how that works. And I promise you, there are no right or wrongs. No right or wrongs. If you share a way that you blend the tarot cards and it works for you, then that's legit. And please do share what works for you. What I am sharing is what works for me. It may or may not work for you, but give it a try and let us know what works for you. This is an intuitive art, and it is an art, not a science. So, how do we blend the cards? Now, before we get going, I want to talk about an old-fashioned word that a few of you have heard me talk about time and again, and it's actually two words. There's dignity and aspect, and they mean essentially the same thing. And that is whether you read a card in its most direct, obvious meaning, or whether you put it in the past or in the future, or you take an opposite of the card, or you see it as a forced energy or resisted energy. So a card can be well dignified or ill dignified, well aspected or poorly aspected. One way that we determine dignity is a technique called elemental dignities, where we look at the elements of the cards and see whether those elements themselves are friendly, are enemies to each other, or are a neutral combination. That is not a technique that I tend to use, but I want you to know it exists. And there are some great videos here on YouTube. If you look up Tarot Elemental Dignities, you will find some great videos on how to use that technique. That is a technique that is very often used with the Crowley Tarot, but can be used with any deck. That is one way that we do tarot blends that I don't use. Now, I do use dignity, and I would argue that whether you know the word or not, you all of us use dignity and use aspect. And we use different things to denote dignity and aspect, but one of them is the cards that are with it. For example, say you're doing an 11-card spread, and you get a card that to you is typically a very happy card, but it's surrounded by cards that are not very happy cards. That card in the middle, that's going to change how you interpret things, because that one bright light is surrounded by a lot of problems. And so that's going to impact your interpretation. And what about cards that mean essentially the same, not the same thing, but that are very similar in meanings? Sometimes during classes and during Global Tarot Circle, can I talk? I think so. Sometimes during classes and Global Tarot Circle, we'll talk about what's the difference between these two cards. Most recently, 6 of Swords and 8 of Cups. They're very different cards, but they have some important things in common. So if you see those similar cards together, their meaning is strengthened. If you see cards that you see as opposites together, then what are you dealing with? Maybe it's well, should I do this or should I do that? Maybe it's first one, then the other. Maybe they weaken each other. Maybe it suggests indecision. There you go. Very smart. Marion, elemental dignity is rooted in astrology, hence why it's common when using Thoth. Right. Absolutely. Barrett Ermy, nice to see you. Thanks for being a member. Oh dear, what? Oh dear, what? And Marion, we will definitely give you time to uncrumple. Why must she uncrumple, Chriswell? Because she'll have been in an airplane for a long time. And thank you for the good wishes on the grandbaby, Cheryl. Looking forward to seeing you in September. All right. So we're going to talk about some different styles of reading and the way that tarot blends show up in those styles. And then we'll look at some specific blends, seeing how we read cards together and seeing how cards change the meanings of each other, how they interact with each other. Justine, I love it when you talk about dignity and aspect, yay, strategy, right? Thank you. Barrett, I blend keywords. Sure, totally makes sense. Oh dear, to the bad card in the middle of good cards, or the good card in the middle of bad cards. Yeah, it happens. Oh, this is a good one, Justine, and thank you for being a member. Thanks for being here. What about the cards you don't see in the spread? Sometimes this is where I realize I don't know a card as well as I think I do, because I won't be able to differentiate why did the moon show up versus the wheel. So, let me speak to that because that, and as I was coming up with my notes for today, I was asking myself, should I talk about the cards that aren't there? And I didn't put them on my notes, but now you just did. So let me talk about that for a minute. And I think this will, in a roundabout way, speak to what you said. Sometimes there are cards that are missing. Now, sometimes you've got 3 nights and one night isn't there, so you want to think about the night that isn't there, right? Sometimes it is like, suppose you're reading for someone who is going through a divorce. And you have particular cards that you tend to expect to see when there is a divorce, and none of those cards are there. Or, as Justine says, where she would have expected the wheel, here is the moon. And I think what you want to do, that's a blend of a sort, because a card has come into your mind as this card would have been more appropriate in my mind, but this card has come up. So what do those cards have in common? What about the card that has been called to your mind? What is missing from this picture that you would think was there? Why is it missing? And how does that impact things? And so you bring up a whole other thing, which is the cards that come to mind that aren't on the table, and how they're part of the reading too in a lot of ways. And Barrett, you start your new tarot gig on Friday. Congratulations, we're excited. So now let's start with the technique of small readings. 2, 3, 4, 5 cards, no positional meanings. How do you read a group of 2, 3, 4, 5 cards with no positional meanings? There are a few ways you can do that. And a lot of you know about the technique that I call mooshing, which is giving, Justine, where the Venn diagrams come in. Yeah, exactly. And for those of you who don't know, I love to take similar cards and use a 2-circle Venn diagram to figure out how they're the same and how they're different. It's a great technique for sure. You've been paying attention, Justine. And thank you for being here. Thanks for being a member. All right. And thank you everyone who's here. All right. So when we talk about mooshing, what is mooshing? You are not giving any card in the spread or any particular card in the spread precedence over the others. Like, for instance, you might use a technique where the first card is the most prominent card, and the cards that you draw after that would clarify that first card. So, okay, we don't know what the question here is. It's a general reading. What do I need to know? So, if the first card out, which is the 7 of Wands, is the most important thing, and then the other 2 cards are going to clarify. Moosh, M-O-O-S-H, I made it up. It's like mush and smush together. Okay, so first card out. So this is not mushing. This is clarifying, making one card more important. In this case, the first card. The first card answers the question. The next 2 cards gives you some background. That's one way to blend cards. Now, how would we do this? Well, one thing you want to do whenever you're using more than one card is to look at the trends. Look at trends of distribution. So here, in the 2 cards that are the clarifying cards, they're both major arcana and they're both reversed. That's a huge trend, right? And these 2 major arcana cards are both earth cards, but the original card is a fire card. So in a larger spread, you're going to look for distribution of suits. What's there, what's not there. You're going to look for repeats and numbers and ranks. You're going to look at majors versus minors. All of those speak to how we blend cards together, part of the way we do it, whether it's a small spread or a big spread, is to look for trends. So what does this trend tell me? This trend tells me, when I look at this very first card, what does the universe want me to know? The Seven of Wands, the way that hits me is that I need to have very good boundaries. I've got a lot going on. I can handle it, but to do so, I have to have very good boundaries. I have to defend my time, my space, my energy. And so here, to give us more information, blending in together, we have the Empress reversed and the World reversed. So remember, in this technique, I'm making this first card the most important card because it was the first card out, and that's how I decided to do it. So if I blend the Empress reversed and the World reversed, I'm going to say that my worldview that I have had since childhood that came from my mother makes it very hard for me to have these boundaries. And Barrett says I have to do that with my mother. And that's exactly what these cards say. Because look, the Empress is reversed. Have good boundaries, especially with your mother, in all aspects of life. And when we put these two cards together, you know, we talk about this whole history that makes these boundaries difficult. So you can see how we could blend these cards together. Now, there's many other ways that you could interpret these cards together. That's how I did it. But again, there are many ways. There's never a right or a wrong way. So if you saw something different in these cards, that's perfectly okay. The question is simply, how do you put them together, recognizing that the first card is going to be the most prominent. The other two are going to clarify this. You can look that these two are going to blend together because they're both Earth cards, they're both major cards, and they're both reversed. And that's going to be really significant. So that's one thing that we can do when we're doing a few cards. First one out, most important cards. The other cards give you more information. Now, another way we blend cards together is when you're doing a reading and a card comes up. It doesn't matter if you're doing a single card reading or a 20 card reading. A card comes up, you're not sure what you want to do with that card. You're not sure what it means. And so you choose a clarifying card. So say we've got the Hierophant. And you're not sure in this reading, what does the Hierophant mean? Does it mean you're going to get married? Does it mean you're the boss? Does it mean you have to be careful about your boss? Does it mean you're going to start your own business? Does it mean you're going to go get a master's degree? Does it mean you need to talk to a doctor or an attorney? What does it mean? We don't know. Let's pull a card specifically to clarify it, saying, Hierophant, what are you here to tell me? Ooh, King of Cups. Perhaps. Hey, TK, speak of the Hierophant and I appear. So nice to see you, TK. Miss you so very much. Oh my gosh. Very happy you're here. Okay. So, the King of Cups is here to tell us what the Hierophant means. So that might mean that the man that you're involved with is bossy and thinks he knows everything. That might mean that the man you're involved with is going to be the man you're going to marry. Could be both of those things at once, in which case, watch out. And so from there, I mean, suppose that's what you're seeing, right? From there, you might say, okay, if I marry this person, how does that go? Or does this person's dominant personality, is that going to be a problem? Oh, Barrett, learning how to love. That's a good one too. Absolutely. So that's another way to blend cards together. Now let's moosh. Mooshing is the thing I do the most often, which is ask the question, pull a few cards, and no card has precedence. So let's come up with a question. Marianne, you got to choose between the Taurus and the Scorpio. Everyone is coming up with great things that those cards could mean. Absolutely. No one is wrong. All of those things are right. Obviously, the situation, the efficacy of tarot is determined by the efficacy of tarot. So if you're actually reading for a person, if the reading makes sense, then it makes sense. Justine, I'm too scared to try mooshing. Well, hopefully after this class you won't be. All right, so let's come up with a question. What's a good question? Okay, how about this? We will have an in-person tarot meetup at Panera in Palm City in September. How will it go, and what do we need to know about it? And let me go here. Okay, I decided to pull 5 cards, and they're all freaking reversed. So what I'm doing is I'm looking at the cards and I'm seeing what do they have in common. Well, the first thing is they're reversed. So what do I know? After skipping a month, it's going to be hard to get people back together. I'm going to have to work really hard to tell people that it's happening and to get people to show up. Chariot reversed, getting people to get into their cars and drive to a meetup is going to be hard. I'm really going to have to mark it. But the thing is, with the 5 of Pentacles reversed, there's a sense here that it really is a great opportunity and people enjoy it. And so the important thing is, with the 8 of Wands reversed, getting the word out. That's the important thing. The 10 of Cups reversed, we do it on a weekend, people have a lot of family commitments. Justice reversed. That's a hard one. That's a really hard one. And I think what that tells me is I need to make sure that I do a program and I advertise a program that is balanced, that has enough interesting stuff for advanced readers and enough accessible, approachable stuff for new readers, and that is balanced between giving people an opportunity to speak with each other and actually teaching. What do I need to work on here? I need to work on balance. I need to work on getting the word out. And TK, you're right, it's hurricane season. Heavy rains or a hurricane. Not many may show up. Shop could have reduced hours. Absolutely. Marion, all the elements are present. I change locations. Feels like something dodgy with the food. Well, and that's interesting. I like Panera, and Panera is great because its corporate policy is to welcome meetups, so they have to deal with us. So it's an interesting thing. Now, would I see all of these reversals as an indication not to do it? I wouldn't. I wouldn't at all. For me, it's just a matter of what I need to work on. And Marion points out all the elements are present. I think that's a good thing. I think that makes sense. So for me, the key is really going to be marketing and programming. That's what I get out of that. So I moosh all of that together, and what I get is marketing and programming. And that's what I have to focus on to make this successful. And so rather than seeing it in a predictive way, I see it in a how do I prepare this? So, very good. All right. So, Bear Ermi, you make a really good point. Sometimes I don't listen to tarot and move forward and it works out. And the thing is, I think that very often, people think about with the cards, should I do it or shouldn't I do it? And it's really not about that. It's about how to do it, right? Because you're going to do it anyway. The late, great Donald Michael Craig used to say that all the time. Before you do any magical working, you got to do a reading, whether you should do it or not. But no matter what the reading says, you're going to do it anyway. So just take the advice of the reading. Okay. So TK, 2 major arcana and 3 minor arcana. What I would say from that, just given the mathematical probabilities, there's always going to be more minors than majors. And so the fact that in 5 cards, there's any majors at all is a good thing. So, I just see that as an appropriate balance. Okay. Katie Kondo, nice to see you. Thanks for being a member. Was discussing with a fellow reader yesterday, reversals just indicate things to watch out for, not necessarily always a negative. For me, it's not even necessarily something to watch out for. It's just it's an ill-dignified interpretation. It might make it more or less of whatever that card is. Might put it in the past or in the future. It could be anything. Okay. Gina, nice to see you. Thanks for being a new member here. That people see enough benefit for themselves to take time away from their family and friends' social activities that weekend. There you go. Absolutely, absolutely. There we go. All right. So, another way that am I catching up with myself now? I was lagging there for a minute. Okay, I think we're better. Another way that we blend cards. And Betty Flesher, nice to see you. Thanks for being a member here. What if you asked if I do the marketing and advertising and work on the lesson? How will it go? Yeah, you absolutely could. You absolutely could. But here's the thing. When we talk about that kind of predictive reading, I don't tend to do that because what if it comes up like it's going to go like crap? How am I going to muster my energy then? I'm going to go with the assumption that it's going to be brilliant and whatever happens, happens, and it's going to be great. Because I'm going to do it. I'm not going to not do it. So I tend to not ask those kinds of predictive things because, if it says it's going to go great, then I might pull back on my planning. And if it says it's going to go crap, then that's going to really take my enthusiasm. So you absolutely could do that, but I personally wouldn't for that reason. All right. Now, another way to do a reading is to read the cards specifically in the order that they were drawn, to blend them together as a sentence or a story. And I think this is one of the reasons that a lot of people enjoy the 3-card reading because it's an easy story, right? Beginning, middle, and end. Katie, Mary Kay Greer herself does not do predictive reading. I think there are times it's helpful, but it's not my first thrust, truly. All right, so suppose we just want to say, okay, theoretically, hypothetically, what's going to happen tomorrow? Let's blend 3 cards together to tell a story of what's going to happen tomorrow. Tomorrow, in the beginning of the day, something that we're worried about is not going to be as bad as we thought, but it might be that we did not get a good night's sleep and it's hard to get out of bed. Oh my gosh. Then we're going to wish we hadn't gotten out of bed because tomorrow's a tough day. See where predictive reading becomes really difficult, right? Right. But then at the end of the day, we're tired. So, in this theoretical, hypothetical reading, we blend the cards together by looking at this 9 into the 10 and then an ace. So it's like, it starts out bad, it gets worse, but then it's over and we're done. So not the best day, but it would tell us tonight to really do what you got to do to get a good night's sleep and to recognize that we're going to be tired at the end of the day. So don't plan anything big. There we go. Okay. Now, in any spread, what if you do a larger spread, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 cards? Regardless of the card positions, you're going to blend the cards, and you're going to blend them in a lot of different ways. One of the things that I look for, and this is where, even in a positioned spread, I will let the cards come out of their positions and play with each other when I see notorious pairs. So go ahead and tell me, what are notorious pairs for you? Cards that, I like to do a 15-card spread. Absolutely. Cards, notorious pairs. Cards that when they come up together, no matter what, you're going to look at those 2 cards together or those 3 cards together, and you're going to say something. For example, the Chariot and Justice could be a traffic ticket. Drive slowly. Drive slowly. Oh, Justine, I call these dynamic duos. Okay, give me some. I like that even better. What are your dynamic duos? Okay, Marion, death and the 4 of Swords. What does it mean? Give me the interpretation. Okay, Ashriel, nice to see you. Thanks for being a member. 4 of Swords, 10 of Swords, and death. What does it mean? Tell me, when you see these cards together, what does it automatically mean? Or what might it automatically mean? If I see the Empress and the Ace of Pentacles, I'm thinking pregnancy, without a doubt. If I see the Empress, the Ace of Pentacles, and the 3 of Swords, a pregnancy that could end with an early miscarriage. Not that I necessarily want to say that to someone, but I might think it. If I see the Wheel of Fortune and the Ace of Pentacles, wins at the casino. Okay, here's one from Justine. Justice and the Queen of Swords. Cut the BS, lose the victim mentality, and uphold your boundaries by speaking your truth assertively. Sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see. Empress and Wheel of Fortune. Issues with the menstrual cycle. Okay, Ashriel. So 4 of Swords, 10 of Swords, and death means an ending. Sure. Sure. Makes sense. Absolutely. So that's another way that we blend the cards, is we have these cards in our head that when they show up together, we see a particular thing. Okay. Katie has opened the swear jar. Excellent. And Katie, thank you so much for being a member. The Chariot and the 8 of Wands, shit or get off the pot. I love it. Marion, the rare times I see it in a reading, it can be an actual death. I proceed with caution. Sure, sure. Justine, 8 of Swords and death reversed. Get out of your heads, drop the victim mentality. Things are dying all the time. Change your perspective, stop resisting. Love it. TK, Hierophant and Justice, nature law will take its course. I would like to reveal less. No matter what the cost, impact, karma cannot be escaped. I've seen that with elections and world events. Makes sense. Makes sense. And TK, Hangman and Son, baby boy coming or a summer baby. I love it. Ashriel, thank you for being a member and thank you for being here. 2 of Cups plus the 4 of Wands, partnership or marriage. Sure. Absolutely. So those notorious pairs, and you may interpret those cards individually in their position differently than that. But then you let them come out of their position and blend them together to give that meaning as well. Okay. Now, in any spread, there's going to be cards that are somehow next to each other. Oh, Betty Flesher, thank you for being here. Thanks for being a member. 3 of Swords and Lovers, probably infidelity. Makes sense. Makes sense. Absolutely. Justine, 4 of Pentacles reversed, Hermit reversed, really fighting the need to go back into social situations. Fair. All right. Right. What about like Hermit reversed and 3 of Cups? Man, that's like drop everything. We're going partying. Right? Clumsy Clairvoyance, Notorious pairs, any queen or king from the same suit. Absolutely indicating a married couple. Sure. Sure. Totally makes sense. Oh my gosh, Marion, 7 of Swords and the Sun, a controlling narcissist. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Oh my gosh. Barrett, 8 of Swords and Justice, looking for balance in the anxiety from change. Sure, absolutely yes. All right. So, we're talking about with not worrying about proximity or positioning, just you see them in the spread, you interpret them in their position, and you pull them out and you say, well, this. But what about when there's proximity in the spread? How the cards interact with each other when there's proximity in the spread. So, for example, this is a general reading. Okay, we'll do 3 cards. Looking at the proximity, let's do the beginning of a Celtic cross. So this is who they are at this current moment. This is their atmosphere. And I did not pre-plan these cards. I am pulling these at random. And this is the challenge. So first of all, hold the phone. Holy cannoli. They're all major arcana cards. And we have Magician, High Priestess, 1, 2. And then we have Chariot. Magician begins the first 7 majors. Chariot ends it. So the numerology on this is amazing. The fact that there are 3 major arcana cards, amazing. But these 2 are reversed. And while we don't talk about reversal with a crossing card, because in a way the crossing card is like always, well, this is a problem. That denotes its dignity, right? Right? So what would you say about these 3 cards? So who you are in a situation, the Magician. Perhaps you are a person who is feeling like you don't have the tools or the skills or the ability to do what you need to do. Perhaps you are a person who needs to go to school. Perhaps you are a person who is not opening your mind to what you need to open your mind to. And because of this atmosphere, you are feeling stuck. Your challenge is to find the wisdom that will get you unstuck. But when we blend these cards together, what do we say? We say, hey, this is all part of a natural progression. This is a true opportunity for personal growth, for spiritual enlightenment. Out of all the cards in the deck, you got 3 major arcana cards, 2 of them right next to each other numerologically, and you've got the bookends on the first group of 7. Oh my gosh, this is super powerful. Yes, this is a difficult time. Yes, this is a difficult time. But the opportunity here is amazing. So Marion, I would love to know how you get a fare from all of this. I could see it in the Magician being a trickster, being stuck in something, and the High Priestess in that crossing position being something disrespectful. I could actually, I don't need you to explain it. I see it. Absolutely. So when we're looking at a position spread and the cards are in proximity to each other, we can really use them and put them together to tell a story. So, Chriswell, thank you for being here and thanks for being a member. This is a good one when there's proximity. If the characters are looking at each other, looking away from each other, or looking in opposite directions. So whatever the position is, whatever the spread is, okay, so here's a character, and here's a character. And look, they're both looking in the same direction. And look, they're both sort of fighting a battle. So there's a battle here, but maybe there's more than one person fighting together. Maybe we have some unity because we have this common goal here. So looking at how the characters are facing. All right. Now, let's look for characters again and see if we see something different. So here we have two people both looking straight ahead. They're not looking at each other. They're not looking away from each other. They're both looking straight ahead. So that's a way of sort of seeing how the energy is working. Now, what else do we see in terms of blends? What about color? If you see all the same color, if you see different colors. Okay, so here we have a notorious pair from Gina. Gina, thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member. Emperor and Seven Cups in a relationship spread. Run. Yeah, I could say that. I could absolutely see that. Oh, and Justine, with the two cards where they're looking in the same direction, that 5 and 9, they're both guarding something. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so what about, now we've talked about cards that are similar and how they would strengthen each other. What about cards that are opposite? What cards do you see as opposite? Like obviously the 4 of Pentacles and the 6 of Pentacles, assuming they're both upright, would be opposites. So what if you see both of those together next to each other? What do you do with that? How do you blend those cards together? It could be a question, do I give the money away or do I keep it? Can I afford to spend money or can I not? It could ask you to look at your budget. It could ask you to look at your attitudes about money. What are other cards that feel like opposites? What about Hanged Man and 8 of Wands? Here we have swift motion. Here we're going nowhere. So what's really going to happen here? How do we blend these two cards? Oh, that's a good one, Ashriel. Opposites, 3 of Cups and 3 of Swords. Right. Right. Katie Kondo, I'm not sure your question as far as suits are concerned. And Chriswell, the idea of people looking forward, characters looking forward as being on stage, I think that makes a lot of sense. I like that. I like that. All right. So how would we look at these two cards that have really opposite energies? Well, we might say first, what's the same about them? Yes, they have opposite energies, but there's always a Venn diagram. What's the same about them? What the same is about them is we're not sure what comes next. We can look at these two cards together and say, we don't know what comes next. We could also say that whatever's moving and whatever's stuck may not be in our control. We could also do a now and later. now we're stuck, but later we're going to move. Or we've been moving, but then we're going to spend some time being stuck. Or which do you want to do? Do you want to move? Do you want to go to yoga or do you want to go dancing? It could be a choice. Oh, Marion, after taking some time out to think, once the decision has been reached, we are full steam ahead. And that is how we read the cards in a sentence. Bingo. Love it, love it, love it. Clumsy clairvoyance. Well, that's where you kind of have that Venn diagram. We can see the Three of Cups and the Three of Swords as opposites, but you're right. If you see them together, could they be opposites or could it be infidelity? You went to the party and you got laid with someone you shouldn't have. That could happen, absolutely. And so we recognize that, you're going to read the cards differently for each situation. The question is, how do the cards impact each other? And what we've come up with is, number one, your own decision around how you're going to read the cards, whether you're doing positioned spreads, whether you're doing just a few cards. And if you're doing just a few cards, whether you're reading them in a particular order like ascendants, where you're doing one and then some cards that clarify, whether you're putting them all together and just seeing how they go together, as I say, mooshing. And when we look at how we let them speak to each other, now Barrett earlier had said key words, which, yes, absolutely. For example, what are you doing this weekend? Just hanging around. I have somewhere I have to be really quickly. Oh, where are you going? I'm going to work. Keywords. Easy. All right. So we have learned that we blend the cards by looking at what they have in common and what they have in difference, where they're different. We blend the cards by looking at what we see in the pictures and how the pictures go together. We blend the cards by looking at how the meanings blend together to give us a specific situation, like the speeding ticket, Chariot plus Justice, speeding ticket. Now, is it always going to mean that? Of course not. But if it strikes you that way intuitively, it really might. Now, we recognize that if cards have similar meanings, they're going to strengthen each other. If cards have opposite meanings, you're going to have to figure out what you want to do with that. Oh, Betty, opposites, Hierophant and Tower, being marriage and divorce. Totally makes sense. Oh, Peggy Lou, nice to see you. Thanks for being a member here. Hanged Man, change your perspective to get moving, the Eight of Wands. That's perfect. TK, Eight of Wands refers to small but required home tasks such as laundry, cleaning rooms, bathrooms, car, etc. These are 30-minute stuff, but take a full day when done one by one. That's smart. I like that. All right. So we all have different ways of reading the cards or looking at the cards, but we all have to figure out how to make the cards work together. That's what makes a cohesive reading. Now, back to mooshing. One of the things you can do when you're doing just a pile of cards that you're mooshing together or a spread is look at the cards and figure out which one feels the most important. Not based on the position it's in, not based on when you laid it down or where it is, just based on how it feels to you. Which card feels the most important? So here, I would say the Hanged Man is the most important because it's in the middle and because it's the major arcana. So if I were going to put these cards together, I might start with this and then bring in these other two. I might say there is a really important project at work that you're going to have to change your perspective on. It's going to take longer than you want it to. You're not really going to like it. But, look at here how the Four of Cups reversed is kind of like the Hanged Man. You're going to have to, if you just are a mensch about it and decide to do what you got to do, you'll get a lot of recognition. So, there we go. So now, let's do an exercise. We've got 10 minutes left. And at this point, I'm going to say goodbye to Instagram. If you want to see what happens next, come right on over to my YouTube channel, Christiana Gaudet Tarot on YouTube. Thanks so much for being here, Instagram. All right. So, what I want you to do, I'm going to put out 2 cards, no context, just 2 cards. And yeah, Justine, I haven't seen that video, but yeah, parts of speech is a way of playing with this for sure, for sure. So, I'm going to put out 2 cards, and you're going to give me, when you blend these 2 cards together, all the things they could possibly mean. Okay? I'll put the cards out. You tell me all the things they could possibly mean. You ready? Let's blend 2 cards together. Okay? Hanged Man and 6 of Cups. I'll give you some and you give me some, but tag it. Tag it like HM6C because I'm going to do another in a few. All right? I'm going to say, oh my gosh, I have to go visit my relatives and I really don't want to, but I have to. Or I am stuck. My head is stuck in the past, in nostalgia, and I can't get out of my own way. Or a person in dementia reverting to childish behavior. Justine, stuck in nostalgia, not being able to move on from the past. Perfect. Perfect. Now you can moosh. Peggy Lou, beautiful. Stop living in the past. Exactly. That's perfect. That's perfect. Go ahead and add some others and let me give you a couple of others to look at. Betty, stuck in the past. Absolutely. Here's one, though. You inherited your family home and you're not sure what to do with it. That could be it, too. Lots of Hanged Man today. That's true, TK. Absolutely. All right. Let me give you 2 more. Mediha, thank you for being here. Thanks for being a member here. Stuck in the past. Yes. Ashriel, yes, stuck in the past. Clumsy Clairvoyance, thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member. Reflecting or perhaps living in the past. Marion K. Tarot, emotionally immature and delusional. Cheryl Jefferson, stuck in the past, Hanged Man. Yep. Justine, thank you so much for the super sticker. Really appreciate it. Oh, Christina, I like this one. Looking at the past differently, reframing the past. That's good. Thanks for being a member. Thanks for being here. Clumsy Clairvoyance. This is a good one, too. Regrets. Oh, here's a nice specific one from TK. Thinking about getting back to an ex. Yeah, that's a good one. All right. Here's 2 more for you. The Sun reversed. Oh. And the 10 of Wands reversed. What are you going to do with that? I could say asking friends to help you get through a difficult time. Give me some thoughts on this one. Mediha, here's another one from the Hanged Man and the 6 of Cups. You can't change the past. Fair? Very good. How about the Sun reversed, the 10 of Wands reversed? You were going to do a thing with your friends, but the weather's not good, so you can't. How about, oh, burnout. That's a good one. I like that. That's good. From Justine, burnout. Yeah, I could see that. Burnout, lack of energy. Absolutely, I could totally see that. I could also see being afraid to do the hard thing. Marion, breaking free from a controlling situation. That's a good one. TK, not a good venture or start of a project. You need assistance or mentorship, otherwise it's not good. Peggy Lou, do the work to make your sunshine. Sure. Ashriel, no pain, no gain. Chop wood, carry water, gets the job done. Love it. Love it. Chriswell, burning Florida sun. Get the shade, man. Christina, tired from doing it all. Love it. Clumsy clairvoyance, even after relief, you're still not satisfied. Good, very good. I love that. Mediha, someone full of themselves and not taking responsibility. I love that. Gina, much rest needed. I love that. Justine, not having the confidence to ask for help. Good stuff. This is wonderful. So you can see there's so many ways to blend cards. Let's do one more pair. Strength. Oh, look at that. Strength and the 10 of Cups. What would you say there? How about, it could really be just a strong and happy family. It could be that positive. It could be that easy. It could also be finding the strength to really work for what you want. Okay, and I think it's not tagged, but I think we're looking at the previous one, not seeing when to stop from Gina. Very good. Peggy Lou, for the previous one, do some self-love to lighten the burden. Perfect. So what about this one? Peggy Lou, recharge with your family. And Justine mentions that fire and water is adversarial. So what about a person in your family has an anger issue? What about that? That could be. Ashriel, strength and 10 of Cups, patience pays off in the end. Christina, tame your wild side at the family picnic. Seriously, don't talk politics at the family picnic. Jay Bewold, so nice to see you. Thanks for being here. It takes patience. Oh, I like that, to have a happy ending in your relationship. That's beautiful. Beautiful. TK, strong mothers create stable or resilient families. Reminds me of the mothers in our tarot circle. That's so sweet. Marian, in order to reach the goal, find the passion within. Sure. Makes sense. Absolutely makes sense. So, I hope this was helpful to you. If you're watching the replay, thanks so much for being here. Put any comments or questions in the comments. Any final thoughts or questions? We're in our last couple of minutes. Any thoughts or questions, anything that doesn't make sense, anything you need clarification on? Speaking of clarification, part of blending does involve the use of clarifying cards when you need them. Clumsy clairvoyance, fulfillment after struggles. Yep. Mediha, tame your wild family for everyone to be happy. Ooh, Kristen Louise, stop forcing your will on your kids. Ooh, good one. Good one. Ashriel, mooshing is fun. There you go. I love it. I love it. Well, I want to thank you all so much for being here. We're not even halfway through the month yet, so if you haven't gotten to your tarot scopes, make sure you do. August tarot scopes are up. What else can I tell you? I've put up 2 more classes for the month of August. The links are already up, so make sure you see them and join us for class. Looking forward to seeing you. For these 2 cards, Cheryl Jefferson, keep going strong. Things will work out in the future, although you might not see it currently. I love that. Oh, Laura, thank you so much. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member. Justine, mooshing is fun to practice together. Absolutely. Oh my gosh, you and your mom are purchasing your StarCon tickets tomorrow. Yay, that's fabulous. Fabulous. Thank you. If you have any problems, let me know. A class on stalker cards and how to make sense of them. Good idea. I love it. I love it. Jay Bewald, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. I'm a beginner. We're pleased to find the information about elemental dignities. You know what? I'm not on this channel. I don't teach them. Just go to YouTube and put Elemental Dignities Tarot, and you'll find some. Absolutely. Clumsy Clairvoyance, thank you for that. My friends, I will look forward to seeing you soon. I really appreciate you. Thank you, everyone. Special shout out to the members. We'll see you soon.